Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the AM Report for HAPS News, the network of now. It is Wednesday, January 13th. We're trying this again after some technical difficulties earlier with the HAPS servers, but we are back. And this morning, Donald Trump will become only the first president in American history to be impeached twice. The United States House of Representatives is on the floor now, hearing debate on this. They will take a vote on this today. We're going to cover this. We're going to cover all of today's top headlines, and we're going to see if we can jump in to the live broadcast of the House hearing on Donald J. Trump's second impeachment in just a moment on the AM Report. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the program. I'm Alex Mahajer. If you're watching on the HAPS app, website, or platform, click the award button. Let us know you're enjoying it. Or if you're watching on Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, leave a comment and we'll read it live on air, bat around with each other. And I'd love to hear how you are feeling on this historic day and your thoughts on the impeachment of Donald J. Trump. And we're going to cover all of that and more in just a moment. We have a lot of people chiming in already. Good morning, Pablo de la Hoya in Los Angeles. Good to see you. Let's see. Good morning, says Noel. Yes, excited to see how many Republicans will vote for him, says Noel Yamang. Thank you, Tim David, for the Buy Me a Coffee Award. Hello from Minneapolis. Hello from the UK. Good to see you, everybody. Good morning, and good to see you all this morning on this historic day. It's not a day that we take any pleasure in. It's a very sad day, but here we are. And let's get into it. The House passed a resolution yesterday calling on Mike Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment. Mike Pence said no almost simultaneously. The House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, received a letter from Mike Pence saying he will not invoke the 25th Amendment to remove Donald Trump from office. Mike Pence shirking his responsibility, really, and still kowtowing to Trump, although the letter is very much so an interesting one, and we have a copy of it here. I'm going to pull it up for you. Basically, Mike Pence is sort of not necessarily saying that the conduct was wrong. He's saying that the 25th Amendment was designed to address presidential incapacity or disability, so that is why he's not doing it. He's not disagreeing that Trump was behaved in a way that was impeachable. He's saying there's 8 days left of the term, and he closes out the letter, which I think very interesting, is he pledges that he will continue to do his part to work in good faith to work with the incoming administration to ensure an orderly transition of power. So help me God, says Vice President Mike Pence. So help me God. But that doesn't change the fact that the House is moving forward. As promised, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said if Mike Pence doesn't invoke the 25th, we're going to move to impeach. And so that is happening on the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives as we speak. And it appears as though while Mike Pence won't invoke the 25th, there are members of the Republican caucus who have broken from the Republican red wall. The red wall is beginning to show signs of cracking. Representative John Katko says he'll impeach. Representative Liz Cheney of Wyoming, the number 3 Republican in the House, released a statement saying she will impeach. White House officials are saying as many as 20 House Republicans will vote to impeach today, which is a very stunning change of events. If you think that this Republican Party has walked in line step with this president, and they have really refused to hold him accountable the entire 4 years. So this is a big deal that there are members in the Republican caucus who are now breaking rank. And we are hearing a lot of reporting that a lot of House Republicans are wanting to impeach the president, but are still feeling a great deal of pressure by the president that he's putting in ongoing, continuous, currently placing pressure on them to not impeach, and that they're afraid. I mean, look what happened at the U.S. Capitol building last week. They're afraid for their lives. They're afraid to speak out against him, and that's sort of understandable given the nature of the current ongoing violent threats that are coming up. But the Republican red wall is beginning to show some cracks. Mitch McConnell, Senate Majority Mitch McConnell, outgoing Senate Majority Leader, he's now lost the majority. What the fresh hell? he is now saying privately that he's pleased that Democrats are moving forward with impeachment. He believes that Donald Trump committed impeachable offenses by inciting a violent insurrection at the Capitol last week. That is a culmination of 2 months of lies about voter fraud and a rigged and stolen election that have really inflamed his supporters. And he's privately telling his inner circle that he believes this is a chance for the Republican Party to purge Trump. Because as we know, one of the consequences of an impeachment conviction is he's removed from office. The other is that he is banned from running from elected office ever again. And that vote would only require a simple majority. 51 senators would be needed to bar Donald Trump from ever running from political office ever again. This is very likely to happen if the House passes the impeachment, which by all accounts, they will vote to impeach Donald Trump today for the second time. So Mitch McConnell saying he's impeached and that there ought to be consequences for what happened at the U.S. Capitol building last week. Knock, knock. Knock, knock. You guys, the Department of Justice is coming for those who were involved with the violence at the Capitol building last week. The DOJ announcing yesterday they'll prosecute hundreds of rioters. The DOJ and federal officials told reporters yesterday that the U.S. Capitol is a crime scene and that the FBI is working around the clock to hunt down hundreds, if not thousands, of Trump supporters who committed crimes and were allowed to leave the building, promising that some would be charged with crimes carrying penalties of up to 20 years in prison. So there are 170 active investigations, but they are saying that's just the tip of the iceberg, that there will indeed be thousands of investigations into who participated in this act of violence. So that's heartening to hear for people who are looking for justice for what happened at the U.S. Capitol building, because of the precedent that it might set if we allow it to continue or to go unanswered for. And that's really the big question. Will the world's leading democracy respond to an attempt to circumvent its free and fair elections? Will it respond to an attempt by insurrectionists to halt the work of government, the work of democracy? And so very glad to hear that there will be accountability there. Now, Democrats are moving to punish the complicit members of the GOP who stoked and instigated and aided and abetted this violence. So did you, House Republicans, were you one of the people that objected to the outcome of a free and fair election? Did you work to overturn it using lies and conspiracy theory? House Democrats introduced a pair of resolutions yesterday to formally censure and potentially remove their GOP colleagues who helped encourage the Capitol riot, including Representative Mo Brooks. Brooks had taken the stage at the riot rally just before the insurrection, saying, "Today is the day American patriots start taking down names and kicking ass." And he is just one of a few Republicans who are said to have helped organize this riot. But first things first, I'd like to play a video for you of Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill. And this is her talking about how members of Congress may have been complicit in this attack in more ways than just objecting to the outcome of the election, that there may be some deeper complicity here. And here's Congresswoman Sherrill.
We can't have a democracy if members of Congress are actively helping the president overturn the election results. And so not only do I intend to see that the president is removed and never runs for office again and doesn't have access to classified material, I also intend to see that those members of Congress who abetted him, those members of Congress who had groups coming through the Capitol that I saw on January 5th, a reconnaissance for the next day, those members of Congress that incited this violent crowd, those members of Congress that attempted to help our president undermine our democracy. I'm going to see that they're held accountable, and if necessary, ensure that they don't serve in Congress.
So an extraordinary move by House Democrats who are seeking to hold their GOP counterparts accountable, and maybe rightfully so. And then, of course, there's this video that came out that journalist Greg Palast, who's been on this program, has helped expose. Riot organizer Ali Alexander has said that he had help from Congress He's a Capitol insurrection stop the steal organizer. His name is Ali Alexander. He's a Republican operative. And he said he was getting help from three members of Congress. These are Representatives Paul Gosar and Andy Biggs of Arizona and Mo Brooks of Alabama, that they were working together to actually halt the certification of Joe Biden in Congress during this joint session of Congress on January 6th. And here's video that was unveiled of Ali Alexander admitting this during a live stream. I'll note that Ali Alexander is wanted by the FBI and is currently evading criminal arrest by the FBI. But this is Ali Alexander.
I was the person who came up with the January 6th idea with Congressman Gosar, Congressman Mo Brooks, and then Congressman Andy Biggs. We four schemed up of putting maximum pressure on Congress while they were voting so that who we couldn't lobby, we could change the hearts and the minds of Republicans who were in that body hearing our loud war from outside.
That's Ali Alexander talking about the complicity of House Republicans, specifically who helped organize this violent riot. We've got a lot of people joining in. Noel says, wow, really? And they jeopardized their colleagues' lives. Carol says he has done quite a bit to deserve that. Actually, he did not deserve to be president. He's only in love with himself and does not see beyond the end of his nose about Donald Trump. Thank you for the award, Adam, the newsworthy award. Thank you for the insightful award. If you're enjoying this on the HAPS app, website, or platform, click the award button. Let us know you're enjoying it, or leave a comment. What do you think during this historic day about Donald Trump, who will be only the first president in American history to be impeached twice? And thank you for joining. Hello from Atlanta, Estella, Tim David, thank you for joining. Ari says, unbelievable. Truly, I'm assuming about the members of Congress who were complicit in this. And yes, Simon says, I thought he was wanted by the FBI. He had been broadcasting on Periscope somewhere in hiding. Yes, he is wanted by the FBI in connection to what's happened. I'd like to now see if we can tune in to the actual impeachment hearing that is happening right now on the steps of the United States Capitol, inside the United States House of Representatives. Let's see if we can tune in for a moment to see what's going on there.
And we as the I hope we can begin to come together. Of Black America. On January 6th, at a rally that was large, angry, and widely reported to be armed, President Trump unleashed the Speaker of the House and the President pro tem of the Senate, the next three officers in the line of succession. And look at what that violence has wrought. At least 6 dead, offices ransacked, the sanctity of our Capitol breached for the first time in 2 centuries. Our hallways littered with broken glass, the battle flags of a long-dead Confederacy, and the debris we have come to associate with the Trump campaign. Madam Speaker, I have faith in the resiliency of our government. We will bring the rioters to justice. Their accomplices in this House will be held responsible. But today, we must focus on the gravest threat first. President Trump, who incited this riot and who remains a grave danger to the nation. As we warned the Senate when we tried him for his first impeachment, President Trump has made clear in word and deed that he will persist in such conduct if he is not removed from power. He poses a continuing threat to our nation, to the integrity of our elections, and to our democratic order. He must not remain in power 1 moment longer. Not 1 moment longer. The danger is too great. We must impeach. I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves the balance of his time. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from California, Mr. McConnell.
The gentleman from California is recognized for 2 minutes. The gentleman from California is recognized for 2 minutes.
We'll go 4 minutes. Excuse me. I didn't realize.
The gentleman from Ohio, in control of the time on that side of the aisle, wishes to yield 4 minutes to the gentleman from California. Correct?
Yes.
The gentleman from California is recognized for 4 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, I didn't like the president's speech on January 6th either. I thought he was wrong to assert that the vice president in Congress can pick and choose which electoral votes to count. He was wrong to set such a confrontational tone in a politically tense situation. But what did he actually say? His exact words were, quote, "I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard," unquote. That's impeachable? That's called freedom of speech. Now, he also threatened to oppose candidates in future elections. And by the way, that was directed at Republicans like me who'd resolved to uphold the constitutional process and protect the Electoral College. Well, so what? That's called politics. If we impeached every politician who gave a fiery speech to a crowd of partisans, this Capitol would be deserted. That's what the president did. That is all he did. He specifically told the crowd to protest peacefully and patriotically, and the vast majority of them did. But every movement has a lunatic fringe. Suppressing free speech is not the answer. Holding rioters accountable for their actions is the answer. And we are. And if we'd prosecuted BLM and Antifa rioters across the country with the same determination these last 6 months, this incident may not have happened at all. Now, short of declaring war, the power of impeachment is the most solemn and consequential act that Congress can take. To use it in this manner, in the heat of the moment, with no hearings, no due process, many members phoning in their votes after a hastily called debate, exactly 1 week before a new president is to take office, trivializes this power to the point of caricature. The Democrats have won everything in sight: the House, the Senate, and the presidency. In a republic, that calls for magnanimity by the victors. Only in a banana republic does it call for vengeance. Benjamin Franklin warned us that passion governs, and she never governs wisely. In our passions this week, we've set some dangerous new precedents that will haunt us for years to come. Yesterday, we redefined intemperate speech as a physical incapacity requiring removal from office. Today, we define it as a high crime and misdemeanor. Well, the moment any member of this body gives an impassioned speech and the lunatic fringe of their movement takes license from it, be prepared to answer to this new precedent that we established today. Now, I could cite plenty of provocative speeches made by Democrats that directly preceded violence this summer, but we've already had enough of that. You know, after 600,000 Americans had perished in the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln appealed to the better angels of our nature. He said, with malice toward none, with charity for all, let us bind up the nation's wounds. Those words were so important to the unity of our nation, they're inscribed in marble at the Lincoln Memorial. I cannot think of a more petty, vindictive, and gratuitous act than to impeach an already defeated president a week before he is to leave office. President-elect Biden's promise to heal the nation becomes a hollow mockery in the harsh reality of this unconstitutional act. God help our country.
Has expired.
Good job, Connie.
The gentleman from Ohio reserves.
Reserve.
The gentleman from New York is recognized.
And now yield 1 minute to the gentlelady from California, Ms. Lofgren.
The gentlewoman from California is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, I'm the only member of Congress who's been involved in all three of the last presidential impeachments. Those were long proceedings. Today, we don't need a long investigation to know the president incited right-wing terrorists to attack the Congress to try to overturn constitutional government. The actions were in public, plain as day. His actions are the most serious offense against our Constitution and our country. They are impeachable acts. The founders devised the impeachment clause to protect against a president who would threaten constitutional order. If we don't act now, the impeachment clause would essentially be meaningless. Faced with these
If
facts,
you're just joining us, we are
don't
watching the
impeach
U.S.
to
House of
protect our
Representatives
country,
debating
we will
the
fail
second
our own
impeachment
vote.
of Donald J. Trump. This is Alex Mahajer with the AM Report for HAPS
of the
News.
United
We are
States
tuning in live
against
as
all
Representative
enemies,
Zoe Lofgren from
foreign and,
California
yes,
offers her
domestic.
comments on the House
We have
floor
no choice.
debating the impeachment
We
of Donald
must
Trump.
time
We are
has
learning
expired.
now at this hour
God
that
bless
more
America.
Republicans than
Gentleman
originally
from New
thought
York
are
reserves.
planning to vote to impeach Donald Trump.
The gentleman
That
from
at
Ohio
least
is recognized.
5
Thank you,
up
Madam
to
Speaker.
20
You'll
House
just
Republicans will
Arizona
vote to
speech.
The
impeach.
gentleman from Arizona
Let's
is
listen in
recognized
a
for
little
2
further.
minutes.
It is with wariness and a certain unhealthy, morbid curiosity that I watch the beast attempt to devour President Donald J. Trump again. The craving to crush President Trump has never been satisfied, not through investigations, not through false allegations, and not even through an impeachment that was wholly without merit. And the timing of this impeachment makes little sense. Your candidate will take office in a few hours, and President Trump will relinquish the levers of power to President-elect Biden. But your craving was never a Biden victory, nor was it even a Trump defeat. You believe that your hunger will be finally satiated by impeaching this president without completion of his full term of office.
We're hearing from Congressman Andy Biggs, who Capitol Insurrection Stop the Steal organizer Ali Alexander says is one of 3 congresspeople who actually helped organize the insurrection. And the House Democrats are moving to possibly punish him. He is one of the congresspeople who is said to have helped organize the violent insurrection against the Capitol last week.
Your chums that sit on the boards of corporate America, yes, the same companies that the left vilifies, promise to starve Republicans from receiving their PAC donations. But I bet that the groundswell of support for President Trump and his policies will not go away. You see, the movement he started is based on building an incredibly robust economy on a foundation of lower taxes and fewer regulations that has the wonderful effect of putting more people to work than ever. It is built upon a strong military that is extricated from endless wars. It provides border security, America First trade agreements, Mideast peace and stability. Those are the things the American people want. Your appetite will be temporarily assuaged, while you will no doubt continue to chase after leaders of this movement, but your appetite will be unfulfilled. I urge you, please do not, and I'm mixing metaphors here, attempt to douse the remaining burning embers of this movement with gasoline. No one wants that. I urge you, please, to reconsider the reckless action in which you engaged today.
Gentleman's time has
I yield.
expired. The gentleman from Ohio reserves. The gentleman from New York is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 1 minute to the gentleman from California, Mr.
And there we have it. The United States House of Representatives currently in session debating the impeachment of Donald Trump on the floor of the United States House of Representatives. And some of the congresspeople like Andy Biggs, who are said to have been responsible for or helping organize this happening live. Today, Donald Trump, the president of the United States, will be impeached for the second time, becoming only the second president in American history to be impeached. This will go to the Senate, and the Senate is whether or not there will be 67 votes to convict, or whether that this will go to the Senate floor before Donald Trump's term expires is unclear. But what we do know is that only 51 votes are needed to bar Donald Trump from ever holding political office ever again. And that is very likely to succeed. So today is history in the making. The vote on this is expected to happen in a couple of hours. There will be a House floor vote. Democrats, who hold the majority, although slimly, will have the majority, will have the votes to impeach Donald Trump for the second time. And we're learning now at this hour that at least 20 House Republicans will break ranks and vote to impeach Donald Trump as well. So this will be a bipartisan impeachment. And we will keep our eyes on this. Thank you so much for joining the AM Report this morning on HAPS News, the network of Now. We are live every weekday morning with all of your quick political news and headlines to get your day started right. If you like this journalism, if you like this content, please consider subscribing or sponsoring it. You can do that at haps.tv/@Alex. Or you can become a recurring monthly sponsor, buy me a cup of coffee, or click the award button. Let us know you're enjoying it. We'll be back tomorrow morning with the breakdown of this impeachment vote. And stay tuned today, history in the making. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks for joining the AM Report. Bye-bye.